Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Sir Harry and all of my classmates. Today, me and my friends from Group 2, we are going to present our project Student Management System. Next. My name is NURAININ SOFEA. My team member is SYUHADA, SOLEHAH, DAMIA, HANEY, and then AFRINA. So, for our problem, the traditional manual method of handling student data leads to inefficiencies and frequent errors, which motivated us to develop a student management system that uses programming to manage, organize, and access student records more effectively. Our objective is to create a user-friendly and efficient student management system that helps automate the process of storing, updating, and retrieving student information, reducing manual workload, and minimizing human errors. Next. System overview. Firstly is user intelligence system. Second, user select selection, which is add new student, add courses, view student or courses, enrollment and record grades, exit the system. Third one is the system processes the input using logic and stores or retrieves the data. Fourth one is the system displays results clearly for the user to view or confirm. Fifth one is user can select the exit function, allows the user to end the session and close the program. Next one is, for the key feature, we have three. First one is add student and course, allows the user to input new students' information, such as name, ID, course code, and title. Second one is view students and course, displays a list of all saved students' information and lists courses. Third one is enrollment and record grades, enables editing of existing student data. Next, we're going to the JD Bill to run the program.
In our student management system, we focus on implementing the core features are the most essential in managing academic records. At this stage, our system allows users to add students, add courses, enroll students into courses and record grades, view all student courses and enrollments. However, our system does not include delete or update functions. This means once a student or course is added, it stays in the system. The main reason for this to keep the system simple and focused for now. Allowing users to delete data would require extra confirmation steps, validations, and handling for linked records. For example, if you delete a student who has already been enrolled in a course, we will also need to update or remove these enrollments, which add complexity. So for this version of the system, we choose to only allow adding that data, not deleting or modifying it. This is a common approach when starting with a basic system. In future version, we could add more advanced features like editing student details, deleting courses, and removing specific enrollments. But for now, we focus on capturing and display accurate academic data using clean structured Java code.
Now I'm going to explain how our system is organized and how it works when we run it. We have separated our project into different Java files, also known as classes. This helps keeps everything clean and easy to manage. First, we have the data classes. These are student, courses, and enrollment. They are simple classes used to store information. Student stores student ID and name. Course stores course code and title. Enrollment links a student to a course and includes a grade. These three classes represent the core data in our system. Next, we have the controller or logic class. This is studentmanagement.java. It stores all the data in memory using array lists, one list for students, one for courses, and one for enrollments. It also had methods to add new students, courses, and enrollment, and to get lists when needed. Then we have the user interface class, console.ui.java. This is where the menu appears when we run the program. It handles everything the user sees and types, like registering a student, adding a course, or viewing records. This class uses a scanner to read input and calls the right methods depending on the user's choice. Inside console UI, we have these important methods: start, to display the main menu, add student to register a new student, add course to add a new student, enroll student to record a grade for a student in a course, view students, view courses, view enrollment to show store data. For example, when the user selects option first to add a student, the add student method runs. It checks that the student ID is exactly 11 digits and not already registered. If it's valid, it saves the new students. If the user tries to enroll a student who doesn't exist or a course that hasn't been added yet, the system will show an error. This helps avoid mistakes. Finally, we have the main Java class. This is the main entry point of our system. When we click Run, the program starts from here. In main Java, we create the student management system, then pass it to console UI. Then we call UI start to launch the menu and start the system. Let's begin with the student registration. For the demo, adding a student, first the system asks the user to enter the student ID. This ID must be exactly 11 digits long. For the first one is system output. We need to enter the student ID 11 digits. Let's say I enter 62218225389. The system checks whether the ID is 11 digits and also checks if the ID is already registered. If I enter something like 12345, it will show an error message such as invalid ID. Student ID must be exactly 11 digits. If the ID already exists, the student ID is already registered. If the ID is valid and unique, the system will then ask for the student's name. Enter student's name, like I will enter the name LIYANA. If I leave the name empty, it will say student name cannot be empty. If everything is correct, student added successfully. The next one is demo adding a course. Now let's move to the course registration. The system will ask for the course code and title, like system output, enter course code, and I will enter CS101. System output, enter course title, and I will enter the introduction to computer science. And the next one, it will be like system output, course added successfully. For the conclusion, to summarize, the system prevents invalid or duplicate student ID and make sure student name are not left empty. It also allows user to register course with just a few simple steps. This system is a good starting point for managing student and course in a school or college. Thank you.
Okay, so now I will demonstrate the gradebook function in our system. This feature allows us to enroll a student into a courses and assign a grade at the same time. First, the system asks the user to enter a student ID, and it checks whether the student has already been registered in the system. If the student is not found, it shows a message saying student ID not found. Please register the student first, and it will stop there. If the student ID is valid, it will ask for the course code. It then checks whether the course code has been added. If the course does not exist, it displays course code not found. Please add the course first and start the process. Next, it will ask for a grade, and only accept values from A to F. If the grade is invalid, the system shows invalid grade must be A, B, C, D, or F. If all inputs are valid, meaning the student and the courses exist and the grade is correct, the system will create a new enrollment object and save it to the gradebook. Then it shows the success message, grade recorded in gradebook. Now I will show how to view all the gradebook entries. This function displays every student who has been enrolled in a courses along with the course name and grade. This allows user to see a full list of all recorded grades in one place. Like the example that you can see, the output. Okay, the next feature I will show is the GPA report. This function allows us to enter a student ID and view their complete academic record, including GPA. First, it checks if the student exists in the system. If not, it will say student not found and return to the menu. If the student exists, it shows the student ID and name and a list of all enrolled courses with their grades and grade points. And finally, it calculates the average GPA based on all grades. So the GPA is calculated by converting each letter grade to point value. Like the A equal to 4.0, B equal to 3.0, and so on. The average, the total point based on the number of the courses. So in summary, our gradebook system not only records student grades, but also let user view all grades, entries, and generate GPA report. This helps simulate a real academic system, even though we are running it on a console interface.
I will present on the part on how to view students after enrollment have been recorded in the console UI.java. The view student method shows a list of all the students. First, it will print the title saying students, then it goes through each student in the system and prints their ID and names, so you can see who is in the system. On this side, you can see this ratio after I run the system. Here it has student's title, ID, and student's name. Next, on the part of how to view enrollment after viewing the courses in the console UI.java, this show method of view enrollment who are enrolled in courses. First, it prints the title saying enrollment. Then it goes through each enrollment in the system and prints the student's name, the course they are taking, and the grade they got. So this is the example. On this side, you can see this ratio after I run the system. So this show the enrollment title, student's name, course name, and their grade. That's all from me. Thank you.
So in conclusion, our student management system successfully achieved its goal on managing basic academic record using object-oriented programming in Java. This system allows users to add student and course, enroll students into courses, record grades, and generate GPA reports, all through a system and interactive console menu. We focus on implementing only the essential features to keep the system clean and easy to use, especially for our educational purpose. Delete or update functions were not included in this version to avoid unnecessary complexity and to ensure data remains intact throughout the sessions. So overall, this project helped us apply core programming concepts such as class design, data validation, modularity, and user input handling.